Chapter 8 Gender and Religion. Religion and gender are bound up with each other in Western societies. Many religious doctrines, particularly monotheistic ones, have perpetuated the idea that gender difference is essential and eternal, and have structured their institutions based on gender inequality. This was not always the case. In pre-modern societies, many religions worshipped goddesses. Many non-industrial societies still do, indicating that some cultural needs might still require the invocation of female deities. Monotheistic religions, on the other hand, have one male god at their head. Such religions have required both the subordination of women and the attempt to suppress religious traditions that held women to be equal. Yet it is less the scriptures of these religions than the later commentaries that have seen to the project of ensuring women's inequality. Although gender unequal interpretations of scriptures are questions of doctrine, they also spill over into the secular world of politics. All monotheistic religions have different ways and extents to which they promote gender inequality. Often these have to do with rules about the body. Sexuality is another area in particular that religions police, but with many variations. Churches differ on their level of acceptance of homosexuality and gay marriage, although religiosity is associated with more negative views on gay marriage. Yet although religion is so centered on maintaining gender inequality, it is surprisingly women who make up the majority of the faithful. Church attendance and involvement seem to wax and wane with the times. In periods of crisis, churches tend to become more conservative. Institutional practices of churches also work in favor of gender inequality. Churches are exempt from federal laws about discrimination, but nevertheless some churches have begun to accept female spiritual leaders. Many churches also host non-doctrinal community services. One reason men are more reluctant to be involved in the churches, because it seems unmasculine to pray and be subservient to another force. Muscular Christianity is one attempt to remasculinize religion and to attract more men to church. There have also been several attempts to create feminist spiritualities, which critique gender inequality in religion, and testify to the human need for the sacred. It is important to remember that religion is political, and thus that the gender relations it naturalizes have not been handed down from God, but come from men.
Could we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Dreaming.
The Gendered Society Chapter 8 Gender and Religion, not only when it comes to the gender of God, but in so many areas of the Bible and other canonical texts are normative, prescribing the appropriate relationship between men and women, husbands and wives, parents and children. Is God a man? Monotheistic religions have been especially concerned with gender issues. Religion has played a dominant role in the idea that men and women are different. Religious traditions require different roles for men and women. These roles have subordinate and superordinate positions. Religions can also celebrate equality. Masculine and feminine qualities could be equal. The historical gendering of religion. Historical record reveals it has not always been this way. Pre-modern societies, goddesses prevailed. Matriarchies and polytheistic cultures gradually were replaced. Greek mythology included goddesses. Hinduism holds that there are many gods and goddesses. Buddhism recognizes a godlike potential in all. The historical gendering of religion. Monotheism, one God. Assertion that God is a male. Evaluated men over women. Many codes concerning gender relations come from interpretations of scripture. Some argue that goddess traditions went underground and re-emerged as witchcraft. Which means wise one. Healers, midwives. Powerful women, often independent of men. Theologies of difference, inequality. Difference prescribed in religious texts. Interpretations more rigid than actual texts. Jesus was as concerned with women as with men. Mohammed claimed that women have rights. St. Paul was most concerned with the subordination of women. Wives, be subject to their husbands. The head of every woman is her husband. 1998 Southern Baptist Convention. A wife should submit graciously to her husband. Theologies of difference, inequality. Orthodox Judaism. Women may not be rabbis. Read the Torah during worship. Sing in synagogue. Lead a service. Initiate marriage or divorce. Pray at the Western Wall. Only men count toward minyan. The quorum of 10 Jews, that must be present in order to worship. Theologies of difference, inequality. Doctrinal interpretations often expressed as secular policies. 19th C. Protestant clergy charged that women could not vote, go to college, enter certain professions. Their divinely created frail constitutions prevented it. Other Protestant ministers supported women's suffrage. Islamic societies. Men are heads of households. Not consistent with modern times. Muslim women go to school, wear Western clothing, enter every profession, religion and the body. Gender inequality often expressed in bodily practices. Christian men are not to cover their heads. Fundamentalist Islam, women should conceal their bodies.
Yeah, let's pretend like it's 98. Like I'm eating lunch off a styrofoam tray. Trying to be the next rapper coming out the A. Hoping for a record deal to ignore my pain. Yeah, now let's pretend like I'm on the stage. And when my beat drops, everybody goes insane. Okay, and everybody know my name. And everywhere I go, people wanna hear me sing. Oh yeah, and I just dropped my new album. On the first week I did 500,000. Gold in the spring and diamond in the fall. And then a world tour just to top it all off. And let's pretend like they call me the greatest. Selling out arenas with big ass stages. And everybody love me and no one ever hated. Just try to use imagination.
Beard. Menstruation made women unclean. Some women find it oppressive, others empowering. Renewal. Hijab veil's statement of solidarity. Religion and sex. Orthodox Jews. Men and women encouraged to experience sexual fulfillment in marriage. Christianity. Sex only for procreation. Lust considered a deadly sin. Modern Christians, good sex, as long as you are married. Many religions discourage or prohibit homosexuality. Evangelicals less tolerant. About half of Americans believe in tolerance. The gender of religiosity. Many religions promote gender difference and male domination. Yet, women are more religious than men. Women more likely to practice religion. Pray, read Bible, attend services. Men more likely to claim no religious affiliation. Historically black churches. Women make up 70–90% of congregation. Fundamentalism. Seeks to return women to rightful place. Religion is a gendered institution. Religion is a social institution. Although the law prohibits the use of gender as a criterion for hiring/firing, religious institutions can use it. Number of women seeking divinity degrees has increased. Reformed Judaism allows women, gays, and lesbians to be rabbis. Some Protestant denominations allow women to minister. Lutheran, Episcopal churches. Some permit gays and lesbians. Religion is a gendered institution. Catholic Church still opposes women, gays, and lesbians as priests. Re-engaging men in religion. Two parallel problems. Increase men's involvement. Make women's roles at least equal. Connection between masculinity and control. Religiosity implies service, acknowledging lack of control. Images of Jesus from the 19th century. Thin, soft eyes. Movement to muscular Christianity. Image of Jesus made manly, the greatest scrapper that ever lived, re-engaging men in religion. Billy Sunday. Don't tell me about the peaceful, loving Jesus, Jerry Falwell. Christ was a he-man, promise keepers. Bring men back to Jesus. Assert men once again as head of family and master of women. John Jacobs. The Power Team. Jesus Christ was a man's man, re-engaging men in religion. JBC Men. Deliver shock and awe gospel to manly men. Jesus Beer Chips. Mark Driscoll. Mainstream church has made Jesus a Richard Simmons, hippie, queer Christ, God's divine plan. Women be subservient to men. Perhaps. The more equal women get, the more masculine God becomes? A woman-centered spirituality. Opposition to efforts to masculinize Jesus. Charlotte Perkins Gilman. The subjugation of the female is the great tragedy of our species. Is religion preoccupied with death, concerned with war, competition? Her religion. Birth-based religion, life-affirming. Authors of the Bible were men of their times. Efforts to retrieve female teachings and texts. A woman-centered spirituality. Consider how people use religion. Example: female shaman in Korea. Consider the lived experiences of women. Ecofeminism celebrates women's intimate connection to life. Wicca. Retrieval of polytheistic and naturalist theologies by women. Worship of Mother Goddess. Focus on intimate connection of all living things. Yearning for equality on earth and in heaven.